The weirdest body parts you don't actually need. Hello and welcome to the channel. Let's face it, humans are kind of a mess. We like to think we're the pinnacle of evolution, walking upright, using iPhones, inventing oat milk. But look a little closer and you'll notice our bodies are basically the biological equivalent of a cluttered garage. Evolution never redesigns. It just keeps adding stuff, duct taping new features onto old ones and hoping nothing falls off. And as a result, we've got a bunch of leftover parts that don't really do anything. They're evolutionary souvenirs from a time when we were hairier, hungrier, and way worse at dental care. Today, we are doing a full anatomical roast. Welcome to the weirdest body parts you don't actually need, featuring your appendix, wisdom teeth, tailbone, and a few other freeloaders. Let's start with the appendix, nature's useless pouch of mystery. If there were a reality show for organs most likely to ruin your holiday, the appendix would win every season. It's small, pointless, and yet somehow capable of exploding. The appendix is this tiny worm-shaped pouch hanging off your large intestine. For centuries, doctors couldn't figure out what it did, which, to be fair, is never a good sign for an organ. Charles Darwin had a theory. Back when our ancestors were plant-munching primates, we had a bigger cecum, that's the part of the intestine where plant material ferments. And as we started eating more meat, we didn't need a big fermentation chamber anymore. So it shrunk into the appendix, a leftover digestive relic. Basically, it's the biological equivalent of an old juicer you never use, but still keep under the sink. Now, some scientists argue it's not totally useless. They say it acts as a safe house for good gut bacteria, like a bacterial bunker you can repopulate your intestines from after diarrhea or infection wipes everything out. That sounds nice in theory, but then again, it's also a tube that can randomly clog, swell, and burst, turning you into a screaming mess in the ER, in the emergency room. Evolution may have had good intentions, but the execution, not so great. And even if it might have a minor immune function, it's clearly not essential. Millions of people have had theirs removed and are living perfectly fine. Arguably better because they'll never have to Google, is this appendix pain at 3 a.m. ever again? So yeah, appendix, you were useful when we ate bark and leaves. Now you are just a biological landmine. Moving on swiftly to wisdom teeth. Wisdom teeth are like the third set of molars evolution forgot to uninstall. Like bonus teeth that showed up after the main set. They're totally unwanted and cause more problems than they're worth. Back in the caveman times, humans had a diet of raw plants, nuts, and uncooked meat. Basically a paleo nightmare. Chewing that stuff down required a strong jaw and lots of teeth. But over time, we started cooking food, which made it softer. Our jaws got smaller, but our DNA didn't get the memo. So now, when those extra molars try to squeeze into your tiny modern jaw, there's nowhere for them to go. They grow sideways, get trapped, cause infections, and genuinely ruin your week. Dentists call this impaction. I call it evolution trolling us. In theory, wisdom teeth were useful when you were wearing a fur coat made of your own body hair and your toothbrush was a twig. Because early humans lost teeth all the time. They needed replacements to keep chewing. Today, the only thing they're good for is giving oral surgeons job security. So dental surgeons, surgeons who are both dentists and doctors. And the pain, imagine your gums deciding to stage a prison break, complete with swelling, pus, and medieval level agony. Then you get them yanked out, can't eat solid food for days, and look like a chipmunk storing nuts for winter. Thank you, evolution, for this gift we didn't need. Truly, your dental foresight is unmatched. Let's move on next to the tailbone, aka the ghost of tail past. You may not have a tail anymore, but your skeleton thinks you do. At the bottom of your spine sits the coccyx, or tailbone, a tiny collection of fused vertebrae that once held up an actual tail. Around 25 million years ago, our primate ancestors lost their tails as we started walking upright. But evolution, being lazy, didn't delete the code. It just commented it out. So now we have a tailbone doing absolutely nothing except making sitting awkward if you fall on it. Some people argue it helps anchor a few pelvic muscles. Okay, sure, technically, yes, but those muscles could have anchored to something else if evolution had bothered to tidy it up. And here's the kicker. Occasionally, babies are still born with tiny tails, real fleshy wiggly tails. They're usually removed shortly after birth, but it's still living proof that your DNA hasn't the instructions to completely delete it. Imagine how weird that is. Deep in your genetic code, there's still a tiny part of you that wants to be a lemur. So next time you sit down too hard and bruise your coccyx, remember, you're feeling the pain of an evolutionary ghost limb, actually. Swiftly, let's move on to the next body part, which is closely aligned to the last one we discussed, and that is body hair, which is, of course, fashionably outdated. You probably shave it, wax it, laser it, or complain about it. But once upon a time, your body hair was a full-time survival tool. Yes, it helped with warmth, camouflage, sensory detection, and attracting mates. Now it just helps Gillette pay their rent. Why did we lose most of it? There are theories. One says it was to help keep us cool. Bare skin evaporates sweat faster, which made long-distance running and hunting in hot climates easier. Another says it helped us detect parasites more easily because you'd notice a bug crawling through thin hair faster. Whatever the reason, we ended up halfway bald. Not quite sleek like dolphins, not quite furry like gorillas, just patchy. But our hair didn't get the memo that it was fired, so we're still growing random patches in weird places. Toes, backs, ears, and those single long chin hairs that appear out of nowhere when you hit 50. It's like evolution started a body hair clearance sale but forgot to check inventory. Tonsils, the drama queens of your throat. If you've ever had your tonsils removed as a child, congratulations, you've already downsized one unnecessary body part. Your tonsils are part of your immune system, sitting at the back of your throat like little bouncers. Their job is to catch and filter germs entering through your mouth or nose. Sounds great in theory, until they get infected. Then they swell up, hurt like hell, and occasionally threaten to suffocate you. The irony is beautiful. Your immune organs are so bad at their job, they get infected themselves. They're like security guards who keep getting beat up by the customers. Doctors used to remove tonsils at the drop of a hat, especially in the mid-20th century when tonsillectomies were practically a childhood rite of passage. Nowadays, we're more conservative, but if yours are causing a chronic infection, there's still fair game for removal. And once they've gone, you're fine. Your immune system barely notices, which really says it all. The pinky toe, the most useless member of the foot family. Be honest, what has your pinky toe ever done for you? besides slam into furniture. Humans evolved from primates who used their feet for gripping tree branches, fruit, maybe each other. That opposable toe was handy. But once we started walking upright, our feet became more like platforms than hands. Toes helped with balance, sure, but the pinky toe, that guy's been coasting for millennia. It's so tiny, fragile, and poorly placed that stubbing it can be temporarily, your utmost hell on earth. It's like evolution couldn't quite commit to getting rid of it, but didn't want to make it useful either. And scientists say in the far future, humans might actually lose the pinky toe entirely. So enjoy it while it lasts. It's a limited edition feature. Moving on to the erector pili muscles, the goosebump makers. In my video about goosebumps, do you remember those? The erector pili muscles? Well, if you ever got goosebumps when you're cold or scared, that's thanks to tiny muscles at the base of your hair follicles called erector pili. When they contract, your hair stands up, an ancient reflex from when our ancestors were covered in fur. Puffing up made them look bigger to predators or helped trap heat. In modern humans, it just makes you look like a cold, nervous chicken. You're not intimidating anyone. Your arm hair standing up isn't scaring off anyone, least of all predators. It's just telling everyone you forgot a jacket. So yeah, goosebumps are a cute but useless relic of the hairy past. A body feature waiting for evolution to hit delete. The palmaris longus, the muscle you might not even have. Here is a fun experiment. Put your arm on a table, palm up. Touch your thumb and pinky together and flex your wrist. See that tendon pop up in the middle? That's your palmaris longus. Now look at your other arm. If it's missing, congratulations, you're in the 10 to 15% of humans who don't have it at all. This muscle used to help our ancestors climb and grip. Great for swinging through trees, but in modern humans, it's useless. Surgeons actually remove it all the time for tendon grafts, and people don't lose any function whatsoever. It's like an optional upgrade evolution left in the blueprint, just in case. Male nipples, evolution's copy-paste error. You probably never asked this question out loud, but you've definitely thought it. Why do men have nipples? The short answer, because evolution is lazy. All embryos start out following a female default blueprint. Nipples form before sex hormones decide whether the fetus will develop male or female anatomy. So by the time testosterone shows up to make everything else masculine, the nipples are already there. They don't really do anything, though they can technically lactate under rare hormonal conditions, which is a fun, if not slightly disturbing, fact. But otherwise, male nipples are the evolutionary equivalent of a software developer forgetting to remove placeholder text. The plica semilunaris, your eyebrow's forgotten third eyelid. Look closely at the inner corner of your eye. That tiny pink fold, that's the plica semilunaris, the ghost of a third eyelid. Birds, reptiles, and some mammals have a full third eyelid, a thin membrane that slides across the eye sideways to protect and clean it. Think of it like a built-in windshield wiper. Humans used to have one, but as our ancestors evolved, it shrunk into that little fold of tissue. It serves no real function now, except to remind us that evolution really doesn't like deleting files. So, yes, your eyes have a tiny leftover flap from when we were still lizard adjacent. You are technically part reptile. Congratulations. And then we have the ear wigglers, the muscles that refuse to give up. Ever met someone who can wiggle their ears? They're not using magic, just leftover auricular muscles that most of us can't control anymore. In many animals, those muscles help rotate the ears to pick up sound. Cats, dogs, even horses all can do it. Humans, meanwhile, just turn our entire heads. The muscles are still there, but they're about as functional as an appendix in a salad diet. A few people retain partial control, but for the rest of us, they're just silent witnesses to how much cooler evolution used to make us. The tail end of the story is that evolution is a hoarder. When you look at all these leftover body parts, it's easy to laugh, but they also tell a fascinating story. They are proof that evolution doesn't start from scratch. It repurposes, tweaks, and improvises. It's like renovating a house that's 1,000 years old. You can modernize the kitchen, but there's still that one weird closet nobody uses and a pipe that doesn't connect to anything. Your appendix, your tailbone, your wisdom teeth, they're all fossilized code, glitches in the biological operating system. They remind us that we weren't designed for perfection. We're just good enough to survive and reproduce. And in a weird way, that's kind of beautiful. Every useless body part is a chapter in our species' autobiography, one written in bone, muscle, and bad dental decisions. Now, here are some honorable mentions for you, the weird stuff that almost made the list. Because honestly, there's too much evolutionary junk to fit in one episode. So, the erector pili reflex, Goosebumps, we covered it, but it deserves a second roast. And then you have sinuses. These are literal holes in your face that do nothing except get infected. Wisdom teeth, number 2, revenge of the jaw pain. The vomeronasal organ. Now, this is a tiny cluster of cells in your nose that once detected pheromones. Now it just sits there like an unplugged smoke detector. Plantaris muscle, a tiny leg muscle so pointless that surgeons remove it for experiments. Your body, ladies and gentlemen, is a living museum. Admission is free, but the exhibits are mildly broken. So what's the takeaway? Well, we're not sleek machines. We are Frankenstein's monster, stitched together from millions of years of trial, error, and adaptation. Our bodies carry souvenirs from ancestors who swung from trees, ran from predators, and ate bark for breakfast. We evolved, adapted, and upgraded, but we never fully cleaned house. So, next time you're annoyed by your appendix, your wisdom teeth, or that one stubborn chin hair, take a moment to appreciate the absurd genius of biology. Because even with all its flaws, your body still runs a 24/7 biochemical symphony. Heart pumping, neurons firing, lungs inflating, all with parts that evolution couldn't be bothered to remove. You're not perfect, but you're not supposed to be. You're just the latest model in a very, very, very long line of beta tests. And honestly, that's pretty impressive. Can you think of any other anatomical afterthoughts? Do let me know. Any questions? You know you can hit me up. Go on, Askadoc.